These are not problems I personally have with menstrual cups. These are problems with menstrual cups and their production and their use and existence as a whole. But I am not against menstrual cups. That's the problem here. I can't find a way to phrase this to where it doesn't sound like I'm against them. I am very much for menstrual cups. In fact, I myself am a menstrual cup user, and that is one reason I am so passionate about this topic. So, allow me to, in this very grainy, very terribly lit video, tell you about these things. If you are not a menstrual cup user, I highly invite you to start trying. There's a subreddit and probably a lot of Facebook pages and Instagram pages and stuff. I really do encourage you to start trying. It will change your life. But if you aren't trying to use a menstrual cup, I understand. And here's why. First of all, menstrual cups are way too expensive. Way too expensive. It's no wonder that people don't want to try them. Like, a box of pads is like, what, $7? Maybe it went up with inflation. I don't know, because I haven't purchased them in a long time. But a box of pads is what, like $7? A menstrual cup, like the ones from the big brands that you will find in the store, are like $30 to $40 minimum. There are some that are like $60. The cups they're about the same price. We're gonna lump them all together for now. So yeah, they're just freaking hella expensive. Now, I ended up getting 3 menstrual cups for the price of about $30, and here's how I did it, just in case you were wondering. June Cup is a brand that often has sales on their menstrual cups. What's very funny is that they used to have their basic June Cup. I haven't checked on this in a while. This was like a year ago. So they were having a sale, which they often do. You know, it's a sale all the time type of thing. Or maybe not all the time, but very frequently, they would put this menstrual cup on sale. So I got their basic menstrual cup, which ended up being too soft, and now I only use it if I really super need it. So they have a sale on their menstrual cup, and then it was available for $6. Plus the $4 shipping, that was $10. And then I went over to Amazon and I bought a 2-pack of cups for like, what, $11, $12? And that ended up being like, and with the shipping, because I had to pay for shipping on those too. With all of that, it ended up being about $30 that I had spent. And thankfully, those cups have worked for me, and I haven't had to purchase any others. But if you purchase a cup that doesn't work for you, you have to go and purchase another one. Cups are already expensive as it is, and if you don't have access to the internet, you won't find any cups that are under like $20. And the price is like one of the things that keeps people from trying this, because all of the other things considered, the price is like one more piece on top of the cake. Well, let's venture a little deeper into this. The maintenance rules for menstrual cups are unclear. They're very non-standardized. When I first, if you look into menstrual cups any bit, you will hear that you need to boil them about once a month. Not everyone has access to boiling water or a private boiling time or area. Not everyone has access to a vessel to boil their things in, which is really frustrating. But also the reasons for boiling, the times to boil things, and there are just like very few studies done on like what is the best practice. I've seen some people say that they only wash their cup with soap and water and they've never boiled it and they've been just fine. I've seen other people say that you have to boil it or else something terrible will happen. And when you're dealing with things like this, it's a little scary to really not know, but there are no industry standards. Every cup brand says something different, and there is no consistent information on how long to boil it. I saw an Instagram video that said that your cup shouldn't be touching the bottom of a pot because it might burn. And so what you need to do is put it inside a whisk and then hold it. And I'm like, I do not have the time to go around and buy a spare whisk for my menstrual cup. I just barely had the time to go to Goodwill and get myself a tiny pot for my menstrual cups and a set of tongs, which thankfully happened to be there in bulk that day at the Goodwill. But still, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And this also, this sort of leads into the next category, but I'm going to mention it now because I was just mentioning it in a conversation I was having with a friend. Some cups, they have a stem, and the stem is there to help you find the cup. Most companies, they don't intend for the stem to be pulled on. I really, honestly, I don't think this is for reasons of keeping the cup together. The cup won't break if you pull the stem on it. I think it's just for your personal comfort, because if your cup is still suctioned and then you try to pull it out before breaking the suction, very painful. So, a lot of companies say don't pull on the thing at all, just use it to find it, blah, blah, blah. But then the stem pokes some people, so they recommend, some companies, I don't know if anyone is doing this anymore, because I'll be honest, I only have so much passion before I just get bored of it. There are many other people out there who probably have a lot of opinions on these opinions. But there are some companies out there that used to recommend that you cut and file your menstrual cup stem, which on the surface sounds okay, whatever, I have to cut and file it. But when you actually have this like $30, if you end up spending $30 on one cup, if you're not fortunate enough to have access to the lower priced cups, because the lower priced cups are only available online. Every new grocery store that I go into, I look at the feminine hygiene product section because I'm just really curious as to what's available there. And every single one, the cups are never less than like $30. I happen to have visited outside of the United States now. This is a global problem. Like, these cups are never cheap. Never cheap. And so then you have this, like, let's imagine you've bought this $30 cup. You haven't even known how to use it yet, or maybe you've used it a little bit and the stem is bothering you, and you're expected to cut and then file it. Who knows how to file silicone? Who does? And even that, like, it's just another step, another headache in the process of trying to use this menstrual cup. That is why I just really recommend turning it inside out and selecting a cup with a small stem. My personal experience, I didn't need the stem after the first 4 months. First 4 months, yes, it's useful. Yes, it's, nice to have the security of pulling on something. But after the first 4 months, I didn't need it at all. And maybe everyone is different, obviously. And there's even now that Flex Cup that had the ring that you were supposed to pull on. But it just is ridiculous to me just how many of these maintenance rules and these kind of like things you should or shouldn't do are so unclear. Because, like, there should be, like, if you look up the time to boil a menstrual cup, it just kind of varies. They just kind of put a number on there. It can be anywhere from 3 to 15 minutes. And then, you've got like filing the stem. And then you're like, oh my God, what kind of like funky, like these aren't point shoes like a ballerina. I shouldn't have to like, physically break it in. As I said, access is still really restricted for menstrual cups. Obviously, pads and tampons, they're kind of easy to mass produce these days. They're everywhere. There's always a huge selection of pads and tampons. At the grocery store, there's usually like 2 cups at most, maybe 3 if you're in a really bougie store. So there's like 3 brands of cups, and in reality there are many more brands, but they're all online. And I don't think we realize just how many people do not have access to online shopping. I am talking about like teenage girls who are looking into menstrual cups, or like people who live in households where the mail is taken in by someone that is not them, okay? Or like people who don't have a computer of their own or a phone of their own to order something on. And like there are still many people like that around the world that do not have access to the internet and do not have the ability to just go on Amazon and order something. And it's just ridiculous just how inaccessible menstrual cups are, because there's supposed to be a wide range of sizes of cups and shapes of cups, but in reality, the amount of cups you actually find on grocery store shelves and on store shelves, because there's also pharmacies, on store shelves is like 3 or 4 brands at most. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, that all disproportionately affects lower income people and pretty much everyone that's already oppressed by society today. You know the drill. That brings me to my final point, that all of this stuff I've just talked about is stuff that I only knew after like lots of research, and I put off buying a menstrual cup for many like months, many years. Can I say years? I put off buying a menstrual cup for years because I was overwhelmed. And because I thought if I didn't buy the perfect cup the first time, that like I shouldn't even bother, which is ridiculous. There is so much information that is stopping people from actually buying a cup that could change their life, from actually using a cup that could change their life. There's like cervix length and like, oh, well, you gotta measure it with your finger, and then you gotta like make sure you get the right size for your cervix. In reality, there are like smaller cups and bigger cups. And it's important to consider. Like, yes, you should think about if you've had a kid, you'll probably need a bigger cup. But it's not so serious as it should prevent you from getting any cup at all. I literally finally had to bite the bullet and was like, you know what? I don't care about my cervix size. I'm getting the smallest cup and I'm gonna try it and it's gonna see if it works. And thankfully it did. And if it wouldn't have, I would have gone through another option, probably spent more money. But still, it's ridiculous just how much overwhelming information there is. Like, you can watch 20 different videos on YouTube about how to measure your cervix, and like, you at some point you have to buy the actual cup and see if it works for you. It just really saddens me because I know a lot of people who are like, oh well, I looked into a menstrual cup but I didn't know how to measure my cervix, so I didn't buy one. Like, why are we putting so many roadblocks in the way of people using menstrual cups? It makes absolutely no sense. So that is where, my peoples, I end. There is so much complexity to a cup. When you start out, you think, oh, okay, I get it. You take the cup, you put it in, you take it out, you empty it, you put it back. That's the general idea. But then, whenever someone is considering a menstrual cup, we add all of these giant hurdles. We add, oh, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Oh, you won't be able to you may or may not be able to find a cup on your grocery store shelf. So you're probably going to have to go online. Oh, then you're going to have to figure out how to actually use the cup. Let's, heaven forbid, we almost forgot that it does take a while to get used to it, to get used to literally using the cup. And then you might have to boil your cup in water and then schedule that time in the kitchen or with the microwave or doing a bunch of other crazy stuff. And then you've also got, like, did I order the right cup? There's so much crazy stuff that people keep adding to keep this stuff away from the people who need it the most. Just absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention, if you really want to add on another thing, that we're already adding on the insertion and some of the same taboos that tampons have. So it's no wonder when I talk to all my friends about menstrual cups that they look at me like I'm insane. Because of course, I went and spent money on something that I then had to, like, put in effort to use, and this just really frustrates me because my life was completely changed by having a menstrual cup. And if I could go back in time, I absolutely would give myself one. It really did. It has, like, literally changed the course of my life. And it could, for other people, change the course of their lives as well. But because of the price, because of the crazy rules and stipulations and things that aren't even standardized around it, cleaning, sizing, all of that stuff makes people not even give it a try. So, I don't really know where my conclusion is here. Going forward in the future, cups need to be less expensive. Research needs to be standardized. Stop worrying so much about your cervix size and just go buy yourself a damn cup. Thank you all for watching.